Welcome back to another episode of Rethink Real Estate. We're here with Chris today, and we're going to go over call to action marketing. We feel a little bit of a wind change in the real estate marketplace at the moment, and in that change in the market, I think that there's an opportunity to change some of the call to action marketing that you're putting out there in order to collect more data. We're going to go into a fair few examples of what that looks like, but Chris brought this point up, and I think that he's 100% right because the real estate market at the moment is not what it once was. A lot of people are curious around what's happening. So now might be a perfect window for a few months in order to collect as much data as you possibly can to build your business further. Hopefully it helps. Welcome to Rethink Real Estate. My name is Ben Brady, and this is a real estate podcast aimed to deliver sales strategies, marketing tips, and business insights from industry experts and myself to build a listing-focused business for the future. Let's get into it. Chris, how are you?
I'm good. How about you?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm actually a little exhausted after we just had all our award ceremony and everything like that. I was curious because we were talking about this and I thought about this immediately that we should probably bring it up as a topic. We're talking about cameras on people's computer. Now, this is not the topic of today on Rethink Real Estate, folks. Okay, it's not. But Chris was jumped on here before and he flipped up a thing on his camera.
It's like a privacy. I think they call it a privacy filter or whatever. I don't know.
And we were talking about the fact that we have in our bedroom, I have cameras portable ones that we put in there for the dogs because that's where the dogs are. And Chris is like, you're an idiot. People can hack those really easily. Is that like on any computer?
Any computer you can get access to the webcam pretty easily. It's one of the easiest things to get access to if you get into the computer, like if you have malicious stuff and everything like that. Now, like the Ring cameras and all those stuff, they have encryptions and they have securities and like they're pretty good at that stuff. So those would be more difficult to hack into. But I mean, I keep any cameras away from privacy areas in my household. Like all my cameras face out, and our neighbor just got broken into, which is funny. Yeah, not funny, but they just got broken into like a week ago. But I didn't install
everything okay.
What they did, people are getting so smart when it comes to breaking into things. They check the door handles on all the cars, and they open one of the cars and grab the garage clicker out of the car, and they opened the garage and stole stuff out of the garage and then closed the garage and then left with all that stuff, which is terrible. And our Ring camera didn't catch anything because it was next to our door. And we have another one that I haven't set up, and it's above the one above our garage.
Yeah.
And I just hadn't set it up. That car parked right in front of my garage. And so I was like the one who I felt bad. I also work really late, like just inherently. So I missed him by not seeing outside. And I also missed them by just not installing the Ring camera on our garage. And it's just terrible. So I keep all the cameras facing outwards on the house, and then maybe like one in the garage or one in the backyard or stuff like that. But I don't let them in the house. So.
I had one. Calista is notorious for not locking her car, and on her car, mine, I walk away and it'll automatically lock. On her car, must be a function on, or I don't know, like we can't find the function on her Porsche that ultimately we walk away and it locks itself.
That's strange,
right? It's so odd, but like I've even got the manual out, everything. But anyway, so one night, like it's like 8:30, and like if there's movement in our house after 8 o'clock at night, there's a fire. Like I'm in bed very, very early, as Christopher knows. But I get a notification on the Ring camera. I'm like, and because Calista's mum lives with us, I'm like, oh, is your mum outside? She's like, no. I'm like, what? And it's a dude in the back seat of a car trying like rustling through everything to see if there's something there. I ran out, and obviously he ran away, but that was it. Wow. Like they didn't get anything, but because there was nothing in there. But it's amazing. Like we live in a decent area as well. So do you. Gig Harbor's amazing. Like the reality is like it's just anyway. The fact that it just creeps me out. The fact that someone would have been going around checking all the doors on the cars, and it's like just so fucking.
They came back multiple nights. So they came like the night before on like 2 streets over, and we live in this like tiny little community, and it's pretty well protected. Like everybody's kind of watching. The moment that happened, everybody's cameras went up. Everybody's like, everybody changed all their settings to make sure any notifications like went directly to them. We had cops then patrolling our neighborhood. Like it became a big thing. Like the cops have still like randomly at like 2 a.m., 1 a.m. You could see them like driving through the neighborhood and stuff like that, which is pretty tremendous.
And if you're wondering if Chris is still up at that time, he is.
Yeah. So, like you'll see them, and I'm just like, man, at least they're out. Like at least they're trying to do stuff
That's
like
good.
that. But from a computer privacy standpoint, I always think it's. I think if you're gonna have a laptop, I usually like the privacy screens on a laptop, just because, especially if it's a Windows laptop, it's pretty easy to get into stuff
Yeah.
when it comes to like getting a virus or stuff like that. Not that it. I mean, if they catch you typing and looking at a weird angle, it's one thing. But it's just the fact that I don't like my computers if they're near like a bedroom or something like that. If I'm
Right.
like working in bed or something like that, I don't want the screen open. So
Yeah,
that's just what I do.
yeah.
I always think in my head, if it's good enough for like Mark Zuckerberg and like all those people to do that, it's probably smart for us to do it as well. And
Yeah.
they have privacy screens on their cameras or stuff and stuff like that. So I always just think it's smart from that standpoint. They also shut their Wi-Fi off in their bedrooms. Like a lot
Oh,
of them will
really?
have like Wi-Fi dead zones. And I always think
Huh.
like, that's very interesting. Like they're way smarter than me when it comes to all this technology stuff. So why do they turn their Wi-Fi off during sleeping hours and stuff like that? It's very weird. So
Well,
that's another
if
thing.
we've kept if you've kept listening, this is obviously not the topic we're going. Like this is
Might have
we've
to
obviously
chop all this out. Just chop
Nah,
it.
it's fine. It's fine. Let's talk about what we've talked about today, because you brought up the idea of talking about call to action marketing, because we try to keep our sessions recorded very close to when we release them, so it's as relevant as possible to what's going on in the market. I don't want to be a downer in any of this, but the market's shit, if you ask me. Like it's not good. Like in most of the areas, it is not good. Most price points are not good. The Pacific Northwest is the only area that I have seen with some resilience in the market. Like again, it seems to be good. But if you go Colorado, you go Florida, you go Arizona, you go most of California. It's just not good. It's just not good in any way, shape, or form. And it led you to sort of ask the question. What led you to sort of bring up provocative marketing. Like how are we going to provoke people in order to do something and run ads and things along those lines. What do you think at the moment would be an angle or a strategy for a realtor to sort of start capturing as much data as possible? Because that's what ads is about, right, Chris? Is that like if we're going to do a measure of
obviously there's obviously a lot of different types of ads and a lot of different goals and everything like that. Like some ads could be just strictly awareness, and some ads could be strictly data capture and just trying to get in front of people and give them value. The other one could be lead generation, like people in the market right now in the next, I would say lead generation in my standpoint, from my opinion, in real estate, is someone who's willing to buy, the next 3 to 6 months, buy or sell in the next 3 to 6 months. So it's a little bit longer than someone looking to buy a hat or a piece, like a piece of clothing or something like that.
But I think you've got to remove that out of your mind, like because
a lot of times,
because like you are not, from any of this stuff that we're talking about, you are not getting any instant gratification. Maybe you might get one that is amazing, but whatever. But the reality is like we're going to have a lady on the podcast this month where her name is Erica Wolf, and all she has done, she's got the largest market share in all of Jupiter, Florida. And all she has done is run ads on social media, a little bit of paid marketing on Google AdWords. That is it, but there's mostly social media. And all she has done is hoard the data by offering people CMAs for their property or an up-to-date valuation of their property. And that is all she has done for years and years and years. And she has over 70% market share in her community in Jupiter, Florida. And like, it's not a small community. Like, it's just tremendous.
Yeah. And that's the part of it, of providing value to then get the data in return. Like she's providing something to them that is of value, the CMAs. And then she is taking the data in return. Like you can't just ask for people for their first name, last name, phone number, email address, property address, and all that stuff. And what type of, where they are in their life cycle stage of buying or selling. You can't just ask for all that information up front without trying to in turn give them something, because they're not going to be interested. They're not just going to willingly give that stuff to you. So that's where she's going from that Jupiter, Florida standpoint, which is super smart. That's the thing that I think agents need to be focusing on right now, and especially if they've been running these awareness ads for a little while now. If they've kind of listened to the podcast in the past and they've started running these billboard type ads and just trying to get their name and their face in front of people, I think the smart thing now is to try to transition your ads over to these more lead generation, these more data capture ads that are out there, because I think this is the call to action time.
Mm,
I think we live in a very cyclical nature when it comes to real estate, where it's the middle of the year is very pertinent to what we do, and then it starts to slow down during the school months of the year, where it's September, October, November, December, January, February, like those start to slow down, and then once spring hits, we hit this ramp up. I think this is now where you need to be capturing a lot of the data that when people are actually interested, when homes are coming onto the market, and you have more information that you could give them. I mean, we have 3 homes just on the street behind us right now that just hit the market. That's information that you could start putting out there in front of people, saying, "Hey, we have 17 new homes in the Gig Harbor area. Like,
mm,
download our report right now to see all the homes that have just been listed in the last 7 days." Like,
yeah.
and now all of a sudden you're getting first name, last name, email address, phone number, so that you can then nurture them over the time to then try to convert those people into buyers, or maybe they're sellers in the future if they live in the area.
Yeah, I think that there's such an opportunity, like where if you can watch the wave of things change and you can be really understanding of what that is, if you get your timing right with moving away from brand awareness to, like you said, is a call to action to get some information out of them, it just is. It's amazing. Like it's amazing to see. We see it with what we do is that you see a change in something in a particular area. Like, for example, Colorado's an area that we are getting a great deal of opportunities in at the moment. And Florida is just, that's where Chris, correct me if you think I'm wrong here, but 70% of our opportunities are in Florida at the moment, in Southern Florida,
Yeah, yeah,
because of the
and
nature of that market.
yeah, yeah. It's very funny how our side of the business is much different than the traditional side. Like
Mm,
our side tends to grab the business when things are struggling,
yep.
and then when the agents start to need help and they start to look for a solution, and then we put our ads directly in front of them. I think it's a little bit harder from a traditional side to understand that, but I think that's where you're looking for market trends that you can then leverage at that point, where it's homes coming onto the market, you have information of those,
Yeah.
whether it's properties that haven't come onto the market yet, but you've heard them in caravans, or you've heard them about to come to fruition. Maybe that's more information that you could share with people, like, hey, I just left a broker's caravan. Maybe it's a quick video, right? You shoot a quick video on your phone. You're walking out our broker's caravan. And you say, "Hey, just left a broker's caravan. That they pitched 7 new listings that are about to come onto the market in the Rancho Bernardo area in San Diego. Reach out to me or comment down below houses, and I'll give you a quick call, and I'll let you know what I heard." And so,
Yeah.
just letting people get access to that inside information could also give you a little bit of a leg up when it comes to that stuff, because obviously you can't advertise properties that haven't come onto the market yet, but giving more information is better, and it's just kind of that value add that you're talking about, like the lady in Jupiter, Florida.
Well, I think that there's a couple of different things that come to mind with me when it comes to different approaches for a call to action. I think that one, you have to be conscious of the fact that you need to build an audience within a particular area in order to be able to target on social media. So let's be conscious of that. And I think that what you can use then is that I've always said that when you prospect for people, you've got to have the perception of listing and selling everything. I think that that's one of the perceptions that you
Yes.
can do. And ultimately what you can use then, Chris, like let's say that I'm just going to use an area. Like, let's use Gig Harbor as an example. If we took the whole of Gig Harbor area and I got that list and I started targeting that list, or, we did that by zip code or however you do that, is that I would put up stuff like in the stories and that being like 123 Smith Street sold for $580,000. It was 4 bedroom, 2 bathroom, this many square feet. And then you click the next slide Right, and it's like, and then it's like want to know what your home is worth you want to know what
100%.
your home is worth now based on a new sale or something like that. Like
And sometimes you can't share the exact address, like if it like during a certain time frame and everything like that. Like,
exactly.
so what you could do is you could say a 4-bed, 3-bath house in the Gig Harbor School District just sold for
Yeah.
$625,000. Now I
What
didn't
does that
say
mean? What does that mean? Your
exactly.
home's worth? Yeah.
Exactly. And now you're running that in the area of the boundary of Gig Harbor School District. Like you're
Yep.
just putting a geolocation around Gig Harbor School District and you're running an ad that way. Or all of Gig Harbor still because it's a small community and you're pretty fine with that.
But I want to go back to this point here though. I
Yep.
think that this is the thing that agents get too tied up with is that they either the pendulum swings so heavy in both directions here.
Yep.
They're either don't give a fuck about it and they are just like doing social for brand awareness or because their coach told them they need to have more of a social presence. They don't even know what the fuck that means and whatever it is. Then you've got the other spectrum where people are like, no, I'm going to do all this ad work, but like I want to get their contact information so I can call them and I can build a relationship. And it's like, no, there needs to be this middle ground where it's like, want me to send you a quick report, no obligation of selling or even considering selling, just something where you can have an idea of what we think your home is worth in comparison to this property. Like it needs to be something where you're just collecting information because that to me right there is such an opportunity that if you got a name, a phone number and an email address and you got an address of their property, right, out of that one interaction, they might not sell for years and years and years, but that is just an incredible opportunity to be their voice of real estate at that point. I just want to really emphasize, Chris, like let's put an exclamation mark on how valuable that piece of data is. So if you got 10 of those, I honestly think that you play your cards right, you'll get 8 of those listings eventually over however many years if you stay top of mind.
Yeah, that's the big part is you need to have a plan for staying top of mind once you gather that information. Like, what are you going to deliver to them? Is it a monthly newsletter? Are you going to send, you have a property address? Are you going to send a future flyer? Are you going to send little gifts or stuff? Like, are you going to door knock them? Like, what does that all look
Yeah,
like in the
look at the
future?
anniversary that when they bought the
Exactly.
property, and on the anniversary every year, send them an up-to-date CMA. Like
Exactly.
even if you just did that,
Yep.
that's fine.
100%. Like little things like tremendously. I haven't gotten any this. I mean, I know you hate mailers. I haven't gotten any mailers from real estate agents since we
In
moved
your
into this
area.
place. Yeah,
Really?
which is kind of interesting. So,
That is interesting. Well,
like,
here's I do hate mailers, but Erica, who I referred to before,
yep.
her strategy is social and she just pumps mailers.
Yep. So again, if you're gathering that listing information, and then whether it's once a year on their home anniversary, you're sending them something of a CMA, and then maybe it's something a little with that, and you mix that in there, you have all that information. That data is so crucial. There's a reason why data one is so protected when it comes to everything that we do and everything that any business has to do at this point. And then on the other side, this data is so sought after from every different organization in every different industry. It's because it's very crucial to building businesses. Like,
Mm.
and so if you're collecting some of that data willingly and like they're giving it to you just freely, I mean, I would run those ads 10 times over again. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like I would grab as much as I can in every single area. And I would double down on those just because at that point you get free express written consent to contact them about anything, whether that's in the future, you want to send text messages to them, you want to send more emails to them, you want to send whatever to them, more ads to them for different related things. You have all that information. You could build your database at this point. Like you can start with these call to action ads that are very, download a CMA or see the 17 properties that just got listed this month in Gig Harbor, like all this stuff, collect all that stuff. And that could build your future ad database that you're looking to run for the next, year, 2-3 years at that point.
Yeah.
So I think people don't really understand that how big though that data snowball can start just from a couple simple ads that are working.
Yeah. And I think that that's where if I got back into real estate today and just was selling real estate, data would be the measure of how I measured what my future business looked like. Like it really just is. And again, we talk about this all the time and we're probably broken records, but I think that data element is like, how do we capture that? Notice the tide changing a little bit. Notice people being a little bit more concerned about property values. Notice that they probably are a little bit aware that, the real estate marketplace isn't as hot as it once was. So they're probably more likely to actually engage with some of this stuff now. It's like open houses. People come in and give you their information in order to come in and see the home that's the easiest data collection there is. I think that this is going to be another easy data collection as things start to shift and people become more conscious. Now, that won't last forever, because the reality is we've probably got a window of a couple of months here as the market changes a little bit. Okay, is that people will be curious about property values, until at which time, if it does continue to get worse or it doesn't get any better, they probably just want to ignore it at that point. So then you might have to bring your ads back, but your ads just can't stay the same, or the way that you speak to your audiences can't stay the same. I should stop saying ads, because it's also the content that goes out to your database that already knows you right now. And from an email perspective, letting them know that, hey guys, markets are changing a little bit. Do you want me to give you an up-to-date idea of what your property's value is, to see if there's been any change over the last couple of months, or last 6 months, or last 12 months, or whatever it is? If you can be the beacon of what their home is worth, okay? I don't like the idea of newsletters and shit like that. I just don't, because I just want to be the person that talks to them about the value of their property. Okay. And again, I'm not going to attract everybody, understanding I'm never going to get every kick in the football game. I get that. But my primary source of value that I would add to Danielle and Chris in Gig Harbor would be constantly talking to them about what their property possibly is worth, so that they're aware of it at all times. And if something in their life changed and they wanted to sell their home, they're going to call me and talk to me about that individual change, because we've already spoken about what the property is worth for so long.
Yeah, and I think that's another piece of the value. We always think with value, it has to be something tangible, right? Like it has to be a CMA. It has to be something that's like that they can print off from anything. It doesn't always have to be something that is written in stone. It could be just a video of you talking about how property values are changing and what you've seen in in the neighborhood and your experience, because that is value. You are providing insight into something that they don't deal with every single day. It'd be like me going to a tire place, like a tire store, and them walking me through the different tire tread patterns. Like I wouldn't know that, but that's value, because that's their expertise at that
Yeah.
point. You're providing your expertise in what you've seen for, 5, 6, 10, 15, 20 years in the real estate industry, and these market changes and fluctuations that you've seen, by providing a quick video that you run as an ad that just walks through what you're seeing right now and what you could see on the horizon, and maybe the different paths that things could go. It could get better, it could get worse, it could stay about the same. Like just explaining that to people and kind of walking them through home value is super beneficial. Whether it's an ad, whether it's you're sending that video, a quick link of that video in an email, like whatever you're doing from that standpoint, however you're reaching out to people, I think those are beneficial too. Like it doesn't always, the tangible value that we talk about in marketing doesn't always have to come from something that they can print off. Like it doesn't have to come with a flyer or anything like that. It could be just simple talking points.
Do you know, I think you think about little provocative ways that you can get people to respond, is that if you've got a database and you know the address of that person, why not send them an email and go, hey guys, I'm just going through and comping out all of the people that I've spoken to about real estate. I'm just comping your property. I think your home's worth X to X. I'd love to send you the report and the comps that I came up with for it.
It's funny. That used to be one of our emails in Rancho Bernardo. It was very similar to that. And it said, hey, we're just doing comps on the neighborhood. The market's changing really rapidly right now. This was when we were in the super fast incline. And it was like, hey, the market's changing very rapidly right now. We're doing a bunch of comps. Stumbled across yours at 123 State Street. We didn't list any price in the email because it was a mass email. And so we just came across what your home would be worth for 123 State Street. Would you mind if I give you a quick call and discuss?
Yeah.
And that was all it was. And our phones were ringing at that point.
Yeah.
Like they were constantly on phone calls just because we didn't provide price in the thing. We made it sound like we were doing all the neighborhood. And then we stumbled across theirs at 123 State Street. We already had their information and then we reached out to them. Like very, very simple email. Again, it was a plain text email, no fluff in it. And it just looked like a personal email from Maria at that point. And yeah, phones went off the hook. So.
Well, team, let's put a bit of call to action into our marketing, because I think that we can absolutely benefit from it in building your database and building the volume of people that you have in it. I think that's a clear distinction on a healthy business, is the volume of data entry that is coming into that business, that is building a database that then ultimately will then return. The bigger the database, the bigger the return from a listing, from a referral for buyers, for whatever it is. Bigger the data, the bigger the business itself. Thanks, team.
Thank you.
So about 75% of our audience hasn't liked, followed, or subscribed to our podcast. It would mean the world to us, and it would help this podcast more than you know to expand our reach if you were to like, follow, or subscribe on any of the platforms that you're watching or listening on. Thanks again.